The blue light from your phone hits your face in the dark. 2:14 a.m. You've checked her profile 4 times in the last hour. Still active now. Still no reply. You think your problem is what to say next. You think if you just find that perfect witty line, she'll finally see your value. You're wrong. Dead wrong. Your problem isn't your words. Your problem is your pulse. It's too fast. You're vibrating with a frequency of need, and in the world of attraction, need is a repellent. It's a scent, and she can smell it through the screen. But what if you stopped? What if you became the only thing she couldn't predict? Most men think attraction is about doing more. More texts, more gifts, more attention. But the Stoics knew a secret that modern dating has forgotten. Power belongs to the man who can remain still while everyone else is running. Today, we aren't talking about games. We're talking about the psychological vacuum. We're talking about why the most dangerous man in the room is the one who speaks the least, moves the slowest, and cares the minimum about things he cannot control. But to master this, you first have to understand the invisible trap you've already walked into. A trap built by your own biology. Let's look at the urge. You are living in a digital fever dream? TikTok? Instagram? Tinder? They've rewired your brain to expect a hit of dopamine every 6 seconds. And now, you've brought that same frantic, twitchy energy into your dating life. She doesn't text back in 10 minutes? You refresh the app. An hour passes? You start checking if her follower count went up. 3 hours? You're composing a check-in text that smells like a funeral. You are reacting. Very reactive. Pathologically reactive. You've become a puppet, and the strings are being pulled by a notification light. This is what the world wants from you. A loud, predictable, anxious man who can be bought with a like. But 2,000 years ago, in the middle of a plague that wiped out half of Rome, Marcus Aurelius sat in his tent and wrote a different command. Be like the promontory against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. Think about that. She is the wave. The modern world is the storm. And you? You are the rock. A rock doesn't check its phone. A rock doesn't wonder why the tide went out. A rock simply exists, unmoving, while the water exhausts itself, trying to find a crack. Most men try to control the wave. They try to fix her mood, win her back, or convince her to stay. That is not power. That is a struggle for survival. The Stoic man does something much more terrifying to the modern mind. He ignores the wave. He focuses entirely on the only thing he owns, his own judgment and his own pace. If she leaves, the rock remains. If she stays, the rock remains. But here is the irony. The more you prove that you don't need the wave to feel solid, the more the wave will crash against you with everything it has. Why? Because in a world of desperate men, a man who cannot be moved is a god. But how do you actually do this when she's standing right in front of you, testing your nerves? It starts with your breath. Imagine you are on a date. The restaurant is loud. People are clinking glasses. The air is thick with the scent of expensive perfume and nervous energy. She is sitting across from you, leaning in, asking you a question that feels like a chemical test. Your heart starts to hammer against your ribs. Your palms feel a light film of sweat. Your brain is screaming at you to fill the silence, to prove you're interesting, to justify why you deserve to be there. This is the moment 99% of men lose. They lean in too far, invading her space because they're chasing her approval. They speak too fast, stumbling over syllables like a debtor trying to explain himself to a bank. They nod too much, like a bobblehead toy on a shaky dashboard. They are vibrating with the energy of a servant, a seeker, a man who is afraid of losing something he doesn't even own yet, eh? But you? You remember the Stoic Anchor. You do not answer immediately. You lean back. You feel the cold texture of the chair against your spine. You let the silence sit between you like a heavy physical object. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. You are not thinking of an answer. You are grounding your nervous system. You are showing her and yourself that you are the master of your own time. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. Most men think silence is a hole they need to fill. A Stoic knows silence is a weapon he needs to sharpen. When you finally speak, your voice doesn't come from your throat. It comes from your diaphragm. Deep, controlled, heavy. It doesn't rise at the end of the sentence like a question. It lands like a verdict. You don't rush your sentences. You don't truncate your thoughts. You let every word carry its own weight. You see, modern communication is a race to the bottom. Texting is a race to reply. Talking is a race to be heard. Dating is a race to be liked. But a high-value man does not race. He arrived a long time ago. Look at her eyes. Most men look away first because they feel the burn of intimacy. It's too much for their fragile ego. A Stoic welcomes the burn. He maintains the gaze not with aggression, but with a terrifyingly calm curiosity. You are observing her like a scientist observes a reaction. You notice the micro movements of her lips, the way she adjusts her hair when the silence goes a second too long. You are comfortable in the discomfort. She speaks, and you listen. Truly listen. You don't wait for your turn to talk. You wait for her to finish her soul's expression, and then you wait a little longer. This creates a vacuum. Nature hates a vacuum, and so does the female psyche. When you don't rush to fill the space, she will. She will start talking more. She will start revealing more. She will start working to win your approval because you are the only fixed point in her chaotic day. This isn't about being cold. It's about being centered. By slowing down your body, you are speeding up her heart rate. By controlling your pulse, you are disrupting hers. By mastering your stillness, you are becoming her obsession. But there is a danger here. If you slow down without a purpose, you are just boring. To make this work, you must understand how to lead her into the void you've created. You've probably been there. The moment where the tension is so high, you feel like you're about to snap. That snap is where the magic happens. But why is the man who moves like a glacier more attractive than the man who moves like a Ferrari? The answer isn't in what you do. It's in what you choose not to do. This is the vacuum technique, and it's the most dangerous weapon in your arsenal because it forces her to confront her own desire. The mistake you're making is believing that more presence equals more value. In your mind, if you aren't texting her, you're losing her. If you aren't liking her photos, she'll forget you exist. If you aren't available 24/7, some other man will take your place. This is the scarcity mindset. It is weak. It is loud. A Stoic understands the law of the vacuum. In physics, a vacuum is a space devoid of matter. In psychology, a vacuum is a space devoid of information. When you flood her phone with good morning texts and how is your day check-ins, you are destroying the vacuum. You are giving her 100% of the information. There is no mystery. There is no tension. There is nothing for her imagination to do. And a woman's imagination is the most powerful attraction tool you possess. Stop feeding the machine. Silence is not just not talking. Silence is an active choice to preserve your soul's energy for things that actually matter. Think of your attention as a currency. Most men are printing money until it becomes worthless inflation. The Stoic man keeps his gold in a vault. You've probably been there. You send a text. You see the red receipt. 10 minutes pass, 30 minutes, 2 hours. Your anxiety begins to build. You feel the urge to send a double text. Stop. In that 2-hour gap, you are being tested. Not by her, but by your own nature. If you react, you lose. If you wait, you win. But there is a third option. The Stoic option. You don't just wait, you disappear into your own life. When she finally does reach out, don't reward her with an immediate explosion of energy. Don't be the dog waiting at the door. Be the man who was so busy building his empire, so focused on his craft, that he didn't even notice the clock. That is not manipulation. That is self-respect. When you create a vacuum, she will naturally try to fill it. She will wonder, what is he doing? Who is he with? Why isn't he chasing me like the others? The more she asks these questions, the more she is investing in you. She is doing the work for you. But be warned, creating a vacuum is only half the battle. If you have nothing inside you to fill that space when she finally returns, the attraction will vanish. The question isn't just how to be silent. The question is, who are you when the world isn't watching? That brings us to the final and most terrifying secret of the unshakable man. Why are you really doing this? Is it to make her text you back? Is it to win a game of romantic chess? Is it to feel powerful for a fleeting moment because a woman is finally chasing you? If that is your goal, you have already lost. You are still a slave. Only now you're a slave to a strategy instead of a slave to your emotions. The Stoics had a different word for what we've discussed today: autarky, self-sufficiency, the slowing down technique, the vacuum, the Stoic Anchor. These are not tools to manipulate her heart. They are tools to reclaim yours. When you slow down your speech, you aren't just creating tension for her. You are calming the animal inside of you. When you refuse to reply to a late-night text, you aren't just playing hard to get. You are practicing the discipline of a king. When you create a vacuum, you aren't just making her wonder where you are. You're finding out who you are when you aren't seeking external validation. Attraction is a side effect. Influence is a side effect. Power is a side effect. The real victory is the moment you realize that if she walks away forever, your world doesn't tilt 1 inch. Most men are like small boats in a hurricane, tossed by every like, every read receipt, and every mood swing of a girl they barely know. The unshakable man is the lighthouse. He doesn't run across the shore to save the boats. He just stands there. He shines. He remains. You've spent your whole life being loud, being fast, and being desperate. And what has it bought you? Anxiety? Uncertainty? Weakness? It's time to try the alternative. Go back to the world, but go back differently. Speak 30% less than you think you should. Move 50% slower than you feel you need to. Care 100% more about your own mission than her opinion of it. You aren't ignoring her. You are simply remembering yourself. Because the truth is, she doesn't want a man she can control. She doesn't want a man who reacts to her every whim. She wants a man who is so grounded in his own reality that his presence feels like a sanctuary, and his absence feels like a loss. But you cannot fake this. You cannot perform stillness. You must become it. So, the next time your phone lights up in the dark at 2 a.m. and your heart starts that familiar frantic dance, remember Marcus Aurelius. Remember the rock. Put the phone down. Close your eyes. Breathe. The world can wait, because the man who can control his own pulse